Hi everyone, this is Ida of Created to Create. Welcome back to my channel. If you are not 18 years or older, this video content is not intended for you. Good morning everyone. I have a project share. I've been working on some Christmas cards and I do have a few done that I haven't been sharing. I've been actually trying to, again, get a little bit organized in my craft room because it just isn't fun for me anymore with my desk being overflowing with scraps of paper and dyes and ribbon. I'm one of those people that when I create a mess as well. So I wasn't enjoying that anymore, so that's what I've been doing, trying to clean it up, but I also take breaks in between to create. A crafter's got a craft. So I wanted to share this card that I created. I received some dies that I wanted to play with, and the one that I wanted to play with is by Tattered Lace, and I've been on this Tattered Lace kit for a while now. Not just their USBs, but their dies as well. So I'm going to share with you the dies that I use for this one and what they look like when they are printed out. A lot of times when you buy a Tattered Lace die, and this one is, the item number is 503777, and it is the Nested Mason Jars, and it's from the Grandma's Kitchen collection. So I'm going to share with you what comes in that. Oops. Well, one just fell on the floor. And I hate when that happens, when I pick up something from my desk, not like this, but I was getting to the point where I would pick up something and things would just slide off my desk because there was just so much clutter on my desk. Anyway, one of the dies that comes in here is the larger mason jar, and it's pretty big. Let me measure it for you. It measures, I'm going to say about 4 5/8 tall, and the width is about 2 3/4 inches. So it's pretty big, and that's this one. And then you get the outside border one. So this is actually creates a shaker. So this one would cut the silhouette, and this one would cut out everything, but it would also cut out this center area. So this would create a shaker. And then you get a smaller die. Hold on, let me finish with that one. And then you also get the lid part separate. So it is, you can add dimension to it. And then the next die you get is the smaller jar, mason jar, and it's this one. Here's the silhouette, and then here is the shaker part. So it cuts everything out, and it cuts out this aperture right here, this opening, to create it into a shaker. And I will tell you what this one measures, and I'm going to use the outside border to give you that measurement because that would be more accurate. So it is about 3 1/4 inches tall, and the width is I'm gonna say about 2.5 with the bow, because it does have the bow on the side, so it extends out a little bit. And then it comes with also the layering piece for the lid, and then it comes with the layering piece for the bow. And then the last one you get, so this is a very nice set if you can find it. It's the very small mason jar, and then it has the layering piece for the lid part. So you get three of sizes in the jars, and I'm going to share with you what they look like. You would actually go to Tattered Lace website, and there is a download, a digital download for the mason jars. And I'm going to turn it sideways so you can see it. So you will get the big jar, the smaller jar, the layering lids, the bow, and then the small jar. But when you print it out, if you get the dies, you have to reduce this and print it out at 85%. This is printed out at 100%, and it was too big, and I will share that with you. See, here is the die, and there's the jar. It's like way too big, but I reduced it to 85%, and that worked perfectly for me. So if you do find the die, be sure to reduce this, because you have options on your printer when you go to print that where you can reduce this by a certain percentage. So it is at 85% that you want to print. So that's the die that I was playing with. So I'm going to share with you what I created. I actually found these boxes, and these measure a 6 by 6, and they are a white box with a clear lid. And I didn't want to spend my time creating boxes. I wanted to spend my time working on the actual card or tags or embellishments. I didn't want to spend time and money on creating a box, but I love the way the clear acetate looks. So I was able to find these boxes, and I had to buy a very large amount in order to get them because I couldn't find these. But I am going to list the boxes on my Etsy shop, and I'll post a link as soon as I upload them. They're not uploaded yet, but these are going to be $2.25 a box plus the shipping. I have no control over the shipping, but these do need to be shipped out in a box, so they can get kind of pricey, so you have to be careful with that. Me personally, it was worth it for me. I wanted these boxes, and I felt like it would save me work. Nonetheless, I'm making it available to you guys if anybody is interested in them. Anyway, I just closed it up with this twine that I picked up last year at the Target dollar spot. I had picked it up in the mint green and in the pink. So typically I would like to use elastic. I like to use the elastic cording, and I had a piece up here and I kind of lost it because I've been moving things around. But what you want to do is add in it, do the gold elastic, or elastic comes in all colors, that round elastic, very thin. And that's what you would want to use here, because then you can just stretch it to take it off, and you stretch it to put it back on. But I couldn't find it, so I used this, and it worked fine for me. I love the way it looks. So here is the clear lid. You just kind of take it off. And what I created was, let me take this one out. Actually, I don't need to take it out. I created this little mason jar. And here, look at how beautiful it is. And I do have a Martha Stewart border punch that does these little tiny gingerbreads. And I punched out, I created a different card, and I had them left over from that card. Let me share that real quick. The strip. I'm not done with this card yet, but here is the copper little piece border that I wanted to put on here. So all the little bits and pieces that came out of here, I saved them to add them to my shaker bit, to my shaker tag. And then I added some little, these are little cookies, polymer clay that I purchased on Etsy. And then the little peppermints, those I created myself out of polymer clay. And then I added some stars, and that was all I did. And even though the bow is like a light red, I still did the pink, and it still looks fine because it has like shades of mint green or light colors in the jar. So it worked perfectly. And it is, like I said, a shaker, so they move around. And then in the back, I did stamp in gold to and from. So I made the matching tag to go with my card. And here is my card. Now, this card measures 5 7/8 by 5 7/8. I couldn't make it 6 inches by 6 inches because it would be the exact size as the box. And I did create a different one, and it's pretty snug in there. And you don't want to dent the corners on your cards. So I decided to just, size it down by 1/8 of an inch, in the length and the width, and it worked perfectly. And so this is the one that I created. I'm going to remove this. Actually, I'll leave it there because I have another one underneath. So here is, I used a big mason jar. I did turn it into a shaker, as you can see right here. And I created this sequin mix myself. And the green mints and there's only one candy cane in here somewhere. Where is he? I created those here. See it right down here? Let me see if I can get that off so you go. There it is. There is the green mint candy cane that I created. So I used the larger mason jar, and I did make it into a shaker. You don't have to, and this could be a tag too. It's pretty large, so it's big enough to be a tag. But I wanted to use it on the front of my card, and so I put in my shaker bits in here that I created, some of them, but I did create the mixture. I added the word sweet right here, and this didn't have a ribbon in the design, so I just wrapped some twine. I have like a mint green and white baker's twine. very thin, that I wrapped around the lid, right underneath the lid, and tied it into a bow and tied a couple of bells there. And the pine needles, this pine branch right here is actually pines and holly leaves that my friend Mig had gifted me, and all those dies that she sent me. But the pine needles here are from a Martha Stewart punch. And this is a great way to use up scraps. When I print my images, I have a lot of areas in that paper, as you can see from the previous one that I just shared with you, but I'll share this one with you. I have a lot of bits and pieces like this that I really can't do much with them. So when the pieces are just way too small, I just take out my punch and I start punching out pine needles, and I'm going to share with you how I store those in a minute. Whether the color is green, whether it's brown, whether it's white, because I can use them for Christmas, I can use them for spring, I can use them no matter what the occasion. So that's what I do especially when I want to try and eliminate some scraps, but that are too small. And paper's really expensive, guys, so I try to make the most of it. I added a couple flowers here from that I bought last year from Hobby Lobby. And then this gold star was in one of the embellishment boxes from the swap I hosted a couple years back. And I think this star is beautiful. It is a wood piece, but it has gold. But it reminds me of a sugar cookie. So that's why I added it there. The paper that I use is the Sugar Plums that from Recollections, the hot buy from Michael's. Whew. And then this little sugar cookie right here is a Tim Holtz die, and I will share with you what that one looks like. This is what it looks like. It's the Santa right here. I happen to find these, I think I either found it on clearance at Hobby Lobby or I found it at Tuesday Morning. I don't remember anymore, but I had never used it. It was still brand new, but I took out the sugar cookies and decided, well, since it's a mason jar and I have gingerbreads in here, I'm going to do it like a cookie theme. So I decided to only use the Santa here. But I love, love, love the die set, because I do dabble in sugar cookies, decorating sugar cookies. So, and it has like the silhouette layer. It does have the little eyes, and I cut the eyes and the nose. Those are on one little piece in white, and then just colored them in. I did add like a blush to the cheeks with some freckles, and then this is cut out of foam board, and so is this. And then the hat is cut out of the designer paper, same as the background that's on here. Added a pearl, half pearl, to the pom-pom of the hat. And again, I tucked in those little pine branches here. So any kind of foliage that you have, and you have a bunch of white scraps or a bunch of green scraps, I recommend that you just start cutting them out and put them away. And when you're working on something, you just pull those out and you'll be able to tuck in bits and pieces, especially when you're working with flowers and stuff. So that is what I created. And I had cut it. If you see, there's the base is white, and then I have like a very light blush pink, and then again white, and then the designer paper. Originally, my card base was the very light pink, but I cut it into a 5.5 by 5.5, and I felt it was too small for this box. It was too much wiggle room, and I didn't like it. So I took it apart. I cut it in half, because I knew I could still save it, and mount it to a bigger card piece. So then I cut out the white one and just cut it in half where I had folded it, mounted the front to the top of the front of the card, and then the inside, I mounted it to the inside of the card. And this one says Sweet Christmas Wishes, and then it leaves you room here to do write a personal message. But all in all, I love the way that this turned out. And if you notice, there's still, you can hear it where it kind of drops. There is only about maybe 1/8 of an inch there, and about 1/8 of an inch in the sides, if that. So it fit perfectly. So like I said, for these particular boxes, I scaled down 1/8 of an inch on the top and the side, and on all sides. But I only took off um, I did it, okay, I cut it 5 and 7/8 by 5 and 7/8. So it is a square. So that's the size of card that I wanted to do this. And the reason I say 5 and 7/8, I didn't have a 12 by 12 piece of paper, so I kind of had to do it within 8.5 by 11. So I had to cut two different pieces. So one of the flaps, you can make these cards with 8.5 by 11 paper. One I did cut 5 and 7/8 by 5 and 7/8, and the other piece I cut 5 and 7/8 by I had it 1/4 of an inch. So I did it like, I think I cut it 6 1/4 because I wanted to have like 3/8 of an inch. And then I scored it where it would be, where the square or the rectangle would be 5 and 7/8 by 7/8, having that little 3/8 of an inch flap that I could fold over and score and glue to my back panel. So that's how I did that. I hope that I explained it correctly, but you guys know how to do that. So that's one. And then all I did, and like I said, the other one I had, and I don't even know what I did with it. All I do is wrap this around the corner and come back up to the front over here. And I do the same on this side. I come around the bottom and up to the top and just tie a little bow right here. But if it were elastic, you could make it tighter, and then you could just stretch the elastic to put it back on it whenever you were, ready to close it. It wouldn't have any gift because, the elastic retracts. So that's one of the ones that I created with the matching tag. And I'm going to share with you how beautiful that they look. This is a previous one that I created. And I remember somebody asked me, where did I get the little scroll that's back here with the story of Jesus? And that is a Heartfelt Creations stamp set. So that's where that came from. But see, this is a 6x6. But I wanted to share with you that it is a 6x6, but there is no wiggle room, and it is kind of tight in there. And what happens is I'm risking that the corners would get kind of crushed or bent. So I don't like that. This one isn't too bad, but I did have another one that was just too snug in there. So you do want to take off that 1/8 of an inch for these particular boxes, or no matter what box you're using, you never want to make your card the exact same size as the box. You want to scale it down a little bit. So that is my project share for today. I also want to share with you how I store, when I have those little scraps. I do have this larger box, organizing box, and as you can see right here, I'm gonna open it up. In this box, I keep all my Christmas flowers, no matter what color they are, or my little Christmas bows. I buy stickers, and a lot of times when I put them away in containers, it's out of sight and out of mind, and I don't feel like reaching for it. So that's not good. I have to keep them handy where I can use them, and I don't go and buy doubles because I didn't even know I had them. So right here, this little cubby right here is filled with those white pine needle branches because I had a bunch of scraps, like I said, on my table, and I wanted to use them up. And I knew for winter I like to use a lot of white. So that's what I'm doing. And this box, you can actually take the slots out if you need a bigger section. So that's what I like about this box. But that's what I have in here, guys. Let me move it this way so you can see that I have just a bunch of just Christmas flowers that I can use in my projects, and I have them all in the same place. And these are, of course, for my handmade flowers. Some of these stickers, the embellishment stickers that I would like to incorporate into my projects that are kind of small, I will add them here. Right now I have room, but if I didn't have room, of course I wouldn't add them. But I do want to keep this for my flowers and using up scraps. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that my card inspired you, that it gave you ideas, and of course this gave you ideas of what to do with your scraps, because if you're like me, I have a bunch, and one of the basic colors that I work with is white, so I tend to have an abundance on my desk of scraps in white because of, that's one of the colors that most of the time I like a card with a white base. So that's why I have a lot of scraps, or I'm doing the digital printing and it doesn't use up the whole paper. So I'll have those little edges that I know I can do something with them, and I hate to throw it away. Right here on my desk is another little green pine needle because I do have some in a package that are up here in my desk somewhere, but I haven't completely cleaned it up. But these will go into my little bin with the pine needles. That way I always have them there handy, and I know that they're all in the same place. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that everyone is having a great day, and God bless. Bye.